Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Macon-Bibb County Pre-Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, January the 28th, and the time is now 4 o'clock. We got several items on the agenda today and probably a few speakers. And I'd like to officially welcome everyone to this meeting, call this meeting to order. Before we get into our regular business, I know that our senior attorney, Mr. Michael McNeil, would like to introduce a new person in his office. Is the microphone on? I was like,
okay.
it should be good.
Thank you, Mayor, for giving me just a moment of y'all's time. About a month ago, this commission voted to amend the county attorney's org chart to add a couple of seasonal intern positions permanently. And so we have our first seasonal intern here. This is Alexis Merritt. She comes to us from Mercer Law School, where she's a second-year law student. She's going to be with us throughout the spring, and I think over into the summer as well. So if you guys come up to our office and you see her around, this is Alexis, and she's already done some good work for us. So we're excited to have her. I just wanted to take a moment and introduce her to y'all.
Well, thank you, Attorney McNeil, and Ms. Alexis, welcome. And I know they're going to put you to some good use up there, and you got lots of information and knowledge, sometimes more than you like to have. So welcome aboard, and thanks for coming to our meeting tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the approval of the minutes from the January the 7th, 2025 meeting. And at this time, I entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bryant. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Stewart. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to consent agenda. We're going to move on to several alcohol licenses. I think we go from A through G, and we'll take each one of those independently. This is Tienda Bernabe. This is 4221 Mercer University Drive, Suite 3, Macon, Georgia 31204. You can see a picture of that right there. After review, legal recommends denial for failure to meet the distance requirement for the sale of alcohol package to go. Specifically, the business has applied to sell beer and wine package to go from the store only 63 feet from a church and church grounds. Since it's not a restaurant and it's packaged to go, that's something that's not allowed. The legislative provisions, Macon-Bibb County 4-122C, is not applicable to this business location. So this time, we entertain a motion to approve the denial. Motion by Bronson, second by Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, and we'll ask legal to take the appropriate steps necessary to perfect that. Item B is Macon C-Store, LLC. Doing business as Macon C-Store, located at 1471 Rocky Creek Road. Likewise, legal recommends denial, as this is a Vice Mart. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve the denial. Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Stewart. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to take the appropriate steps necessary. Item C is a 777 Vineville Food Mart. Doing business as Mobile Food Mart, located at 3224 Vineville Avenue, Macon, Georgia. In this particular situation, legal recommends approval. We have sent code enforcement back out to the site for another inspection, and this business is open with gas pumps. Therefore, it does qualify and meet all the legal and necessary requirements. Commissioner Wynn?
Yeah, I just had a question because I went past there and it looks boarded up. Is it? I mean.
It's operational as last time we were here because we sent code enforcement back out there, even checked the pumps there.
Okay.
There may be some damage to windows up there, but the gas pumps are working, the store is working.
Were the windows good when you went by or somebody went by?
I think the picture shows some wood on the window.
It looks like there's boards
Commissioner, code enforcement performs the inspections, and
that's right.
code enforcement did confirm that it met all the requirements when they performed their inspection. And they did that after we tabled this at the last meeting this was considered at.
Okay. Okie dokie, thank you.
Mr. Bailey?
Also, did they have gas?
Yes, ma'am.
The last time their gas pumps were not in service.
Code enforcement went back for an inspection after you brought that up at our last meeting, and it was operable and had gasoline there. So they meet all the legal and statutory reasons. May not be very pretty, but certainly they are operational and they meet the guidelines, including the certificate of good standing. So at this time, I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item D is Top Line Partners, LLC, doing business as Top Line Spirits, located at 3714 Eisenhower Parkway, Macon, Georgia 31206. Legal does recommend approval. This is a liquor store, but it's a change of ownership at the corner of Eisenhower and Bloomfield. So they meet all the legal and statutory requirements to do that. So at this time, we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item E is Sitco 1681 LLC, doing business as Sitco Food Mart, located at 1681 Rocky Creek Road. Legal does recommend approval on this. It met all the legal and statutory requirements to get a license, and this is a change of ownership. So this time, we'd entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item F is 1212 Eisenhower Food Mart LLC, doing business as Texaco Food Mart, located at 1212 Eisenhower Parkway. You can see that there. That's Macon, Georgia 31206. It's a gas station, change of ownership, and legal does recommend approval. At this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do you have a second? Second by who is that? Ms. Bryant? Mr. Bryant? Commissioner Bronson, you have a question, sir?
Hey, just out of curiosity, is there anything that puts I'm gonna use a bad term, cap, on how many gas stations can be next to another gas station? Just out of curiosity, I know we have a lot of gas stations in Macon. There's nothing that can.
Nothing other than provisions set by planning and zoning that we do not control, allowing only a limited amount of distance between a residential neighborhood and a gas station.
Cool beans. Thanks.
Thank you for that question. We do have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item G is OSLSN LLC, doing business as Food Mart, located at 3598 Williamson Road, Macon, Georgia 31206. Legal does recommend approval. This is a change of ownership. This is a gas station. That meets all the legal qualifications. You saw a picture on the screen of that. At this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. Have a question from Commissioner Bryant.
I just want to know, how many times can they change ownership? Is it a limit or within the amount of years or?
No, ma'am, it's not a limit, and a lot of times it's depend on the situation, but we're required the owners to present an arm's length transaction to show that there's actually a rent there or sale of the business. So there's no limit, but there's supposed to be an arm's length transaction, which means you don't just transfer it back and forth between your husband and wife. A lot of times we require a lease on that or a property ownership through the court system. That's a good question. We do have a motion and second. Have a motion and second. There's no further questions. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item 4A is appropriations and transfers. This is an ordinance of Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize a budget transfer within the engineering department from the professional services line item to the contract line item in the amount of $250,000 for the purpose of funding roadwork contracts. This is just an accounting measure. We have to transfer from one item to the other. The money is there. We've already previously approved this. I think most of this is still with striping. Is that correct? That's doing striping. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Wilder, second by Commissioner Wynn. Okay, no further questions. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Going to move on to our ordinance, the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the appropriation of up to $10,624,314 from the 2018 SPLOST proceeds to allocated authorized projects as specified herein. As you recall, these are just projects that we move up on our timeline. We have appropriated those funds to be spent this year, and each of those contracts for those specific awards will be brought back to commission. So this is just moving things up so we can spend it and appropriate it this year. Okay. At this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Bailey? Got a second? Do you have a second? Yeah, sure. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Mr. Bronson, do you have a question, sir?
I was trying to catch a question before we actually voted on it. Just out of curiosity, with the projects that we're pushing forward, do we have a list of those projects that are being pushed forward, i.e. infrastructure, waterways, and so forth?
There should be an attachment there to your materials. If not, we've previously put one there. Dr.
Moffitt, could you assist me with that? Just out of curiosity, could you,
Page 2 of the order,
page 2 of the order?
that says, in short, $1,922,840 for stormwater management, $481,696 to stormwater management emergency satisfy obligations under intergovernmental agreement, $865,000 some change for culture and public, which is the health department, mental health, satisfy the obligations for the IGA, $2,384,000 for recreation, Fillmore Thomas Park improvements, $4 million to economic development to industrial to satisfy the obligation under the IGA with them, and $970,240 to culture and recreations for the Grand Opera House improvements.
Thank you for that, sir. Just out of curiosity, the last part, are we looking at possibly increasing any amount toward the water drainage system infrastructure area?
Not in this is
Not
the
in this one.
2018 SPOS, yes, sir.
Okay. Another question.
Good. Commissioner Wynn? Keep hitting your button, ma'am.
I have my button on, okay. What things are being done at the Grand Opera House specifically? I don't think it listed anything there.
Mercer manages that, and
Right.
in the last 6 months, they did, I met with Mr. Brumley, and they did,
Well,
that's one I'm not prepared, I'll know before we leave here
okay,
tonight.
thank you.
But Mercer manages that, and they are up to, all requests have been fulfilled for what they wanted to do.
Part of it is the large backdrop reimbursement. I'm
That's
trying
it.
to think of
That's
the
it,
name
the
of it
backdrop.
for it. That the device that came down that had fallen apart last time. So
Okay.
that's
And
part of
that
it.
has already been done.
We've previously done seats and other things of that nature, and we're slowly making our way through what was approved in 2018, although we may not use all those funds.
And
I know the bar area and the bathrooms have been redone a while back too.
Right.
Looks good.
And I have a Word document, but the clerk has it. Can you forward the commissioners the Word document from the SPOS manager?
Sure.
And it gives an update of some of the projects.
Thank you. We do have a motion and second. Any further questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries will be sent to consent agenda. Item 4C is an ordinance of Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the acceptance and approve the installation of a bench in memory of Jim Brax and Tate Bragg in Coleman Hill Park to authorize a supplemental appropriation amount of up to $500 from the general fund to the Parks and Beautification budget for the purchase of materials and memorial signage. It's time we entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Bronson, second by Commissioner Bailey. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. I'm sorry, Commissioner Stewart.
Yeah, I would love to see also something like a little plaque beside that bench, talking about, the family and the whole background there. I don't know if that can, if that's feasible or not, but I would love to see something like that.
Okay, thank you for that vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. I think it comes with some general language, but we'll look at that, Mr. Stewart. I'm going to move on to item D. This is the ordinance of Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve a supplemental appropriation from the general fund balance to the Airport Middle Georgia Regional Building and Building Improvements line in an amount of $110,000. This is to purchase lumber. So that's a lot of lumber, but I'll say that to say this. We're building a brand-new FBO at the airport, and you've seen figures that we discussed it. We've had press conferences and things out there. The large gift to our highnoteaviation.com is where you can see the information. But we need to lock in some prices for lumber. We're just getting a bond that we'll be bringing back to you to do the bond on that project and the bid award for that project as we demolish the previous low aviation LPO and build a new one. But lumber is way behind, and we want to lock in on a good price, so we must go ahead and order that. Similar to what we did when we were doing the amphitheater, about steel prices were climbing, as you recall, very high. We went ahead and locked into a good price. So you're talking about a 4 to 6 months delay on getting the lumber in, but this is allow that purchase to go ahead and happen. And then at the same time, it'll be here when they need to get to that point to keep everything on schedule there. So it's not quite run-of-the-mill how we always do things, but we do get exigent circumstances on specific items like this. And since this is going to be some lumber that's necessary to beautify that project that we're working on there, we certainly recommend that. Commissioner Wynn, do you have a question?
Mr. Mayor, is that going to be enough, you think, or is it just a good?
That's going to be
guess?
enough on the lumber portion that we have to buy. The total project's approximately $14 million.
Yeah, but on the lumber part?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We anticipate that being sufficient. So at this time, we do entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner Bronson. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Great, that motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. We have several items for contracts and purchase orders for approval. We'll begin with that first item, which is item A, 5A, a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission expressing the intent of Macon-Bibb County to reimburse for certain expenses related to capital improvements. As you recall, we had some discussion at our last meeting, which several weeks ago, purchasing about $2 million worth of automobiles for the Sheriff's Department. As part of the reimbursement that we've done on several purchases, we purchased this using our general fund because we have expended all monies for the SPOS for those particular purposes. So it would be our intent at the passage of the SPOS to reimburse Macon-Bibb County for the automobiles that we were buying to our general fund. So that's the purpose of having this reimbursement resolution. So Commissioner Stewart?
Yes, sir. I'm definitely voting yes for that, but going forward, Mr. Mayor, it would be great for the citizens if what you just said could be put into this so they could see it, when that time comes up.
Well, I'll take that under advisement, but this is why we have the open meeting, and this is the information we're providing to you. But this is a reimbursement provision that's attached as part of our documentation that we post online, and it's pretty, I think, self-explanatory in that. But we'll take any other steps that we feel necessary to educate the public. So at this time, we entertain a motion for approval. Who's that? I'll let Commissioner Bryant, since she just left the Sheriff's Department just a few days ago, and then second by Commissioner Bailey. Anybody else that wants to join as a sponsor, certainly we're happy to have you. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve 2 change orders, both in the amount of $10,000 each, to the purchase orders of Civic Partners to be paid from grant funds for services rendered to the District Attorney's Office for the RISE initiative. This is a request made by our District Attorney, Ms. Nita Howard, to basically take care of the RISE initiative that she just had. She just had a substantial graduation over there. There's some costs associated with that, and because of our processes and procedures, it must go through this body of government. So, and she's asking for y'all to approve that. We'd ask the same. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Got Commissioner Bronson, and then we Bailey and Brown over there. So all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Next one is concerning our contribution plans and deferred compensation plan. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor as well as the Macon-Bibb Defined Contribution and Deferred Compensation Plan Administration Boards to execute an agreement with Nationwide Retirement Solutions to provide record-keeping and administrative services for Macon-Bibb County, the 457B deferred compensation and the 401A defined contribution plans, to be compensated in an amount not to exceed a total of $98 per plan participant and 0.12% of the plan's assets per year, with costs to be divided amongst the plans to be paid for plan assets on a prorated basis. Which one of our attorneys can talk just briefly about this? Let's let the attorneys come down. Dr. Moffitt, if you don't mind. You can clean up anything after she does. Ms. Beavers, thank you for being here tonight. That's right. Just so you know, that Nationwide was previously contracted to do this work, and they were submitted out a new bid, and they're being awarded that as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. Nationwide was selected as the plan administrator and record keeper in 2019. It's been 5 years, so we went and had those services put out for an RFP. We received several responses, and Nationwide was selected based on their submission of pricing, as well as their expertise and experience in retirement solutions overall.
Okay. Commissioner Wynn?
I'd like to be added a co-sponsor since I work on that pension board.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your service on that board. Commissioner Bronson?
Same here, sir.
I'm not going to thank you for your service on that board.
I love you too, sir.
All right, we do have a motion and a second, and we have a couple additional co-sponsors. We appreciate y'all's support on it. We appreciate all the hard work y'all do on the pension board. It's not the board we take very lightly, and I know it takes up a lot of your time. So we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. We're going to move on to several community development block grants, and I know Ms. Wanzina Jackson is here tonight. Since we do have some new commissioners, we've asked her to do a presentation to kind of let you know, because especially for the new commissioners, you'll receive several of these. We have a process at each year about how we get money in, how it's expended out. It's a pass-through from us, but we vet those things out, and Ms. Jackson's office does a good job of doing that. So at first, you'll put in her budget, then she'll divvy up the money, and then she'll award the contracts, and she'll come back before us. That way, it's not new to you when she comes back before us. But I'm going to quit talking, let her go through her slide presentation, and then we'll go through these block grants one by one and take a vote.
Awesome. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. As a part of the presentation, we're going to talk about an overview of the Community Development Block Grant Program. With this particular program, it provides annual grants as a formula grant based upon states and cities throughout the United States. This is to provide services for viable communities, to provide services for low to moderate income individuals. As a part of these particular funds, they are to look at decent housing as well as suitable living environment, as well as expanding economic opportunities. This was actually, these funds have been authorized with regards to the Title I, and that is through the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. Just a little bit more information with regards to this. A lot of times we use these terms and people think, okay, what does that really mean? So with us, we receive funds. These will be community development block grant funds. With these particular funds, we are a recipient with regards to the local government. We also, as a part of that, how they determine it is based upon your population. Either you're 50,000 or more if you are a county or a city. If you are considered to be an urban county, then it'll be 200,000 people or more to be identified as a part of this particular pool. So Macon-Bibb County is an entitlement community with regards to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. As an entitlement community, there is a portion of the Community Development Block Grant funds that are actually provided to our community based upon a formula grant. This formula grant has several different parameters that take into consideration. With the Department of Housing and Urban Development as a part of that particular formula, they are looking at it from the perspective of your housing stock. They're also looking at it with regards to numbers as far as poverty is concerned, population growth and lag as well, and then also overcrowding as far as housing population. As a part of these funds, to receive these funds, even though it is a direct formula grant and an allocation that is provided to us, that we are required as an entitlement community to provide a consolidated plan. As a part of the consolidated plan, Mayor Miller actually mentioned that. So as a part of that, we talk about what we do in our community, what our community needs are. Most of the times, how we do that is we do that through public hearings where we take information. We do it through surveys. We also look at what is being done through other organizations as well to look at what the actual information that's coming out with regards to our community, as well as census data. And then we prepare that document as to those items that we feel are most important with regards to serving low to moderate income individuals within Macon-Bibb County. That is presented for a 30-day comment period. We then at that time bring that to you all as the commissioners to actually have an opportunity to hear what we're presenting forward. Each year we must update that plan, so that consolidated plan is a 5-year plan. Or you can do a 3-year, ours is a 5-year, and there's an action plan each year to say, hey, this is what we propose. Based upon what we propose, this is what we're proposing this year. And then there's also an evaluation at the end as far as what the actual was. And this actually includes each year as we receive that formula grant, because again, the formula the amount will be different depending upon what is actually appropriated each year. And there is a pool, and it depends upon how many communities that are associated as a part of that. Just to give you a little bit of idea, I've been talking about low to moderate income individuals, but with regards to these funds, we actually receive each year that there is an update that shows for every community that is eligible for these funds that this is what is considered to be low to moderate income. So for us, a family of 4 could not make more than $56,550 to apply for our programs. Now, that's the maximum amount. That's a family of 4. So everything is based upon the income that's coming into that household, as well as the number of individuals to determine as to whether that household is considered to be low to moderate income and whether they actually are eligible for these particular programs. With these programs, there's also national objectives that must be met. So as we're proposing projects, that we're also making sure that they will fall within the lines of the guidelines for these funds. Number 1, they must either benefit low to moderate income individuals or prevent or eliminate slum or blight. And then the third national objective is that if there is a natural disaster. So that's considered to be an urgent need. There's a rarity that we would use that. That's normally done as a part of a natural disaster. Some of the eligible activities, this would be program administration as far as the grant itself, that we can use a portion of the grant toward the actual administration of the program. However, we can only use a maximum of 20% of the total amount that we receive. So public service activities. Public service, we can only allocate 15%. That is actually the largest amount of applications that we receive. So let me give you an idea of what's considered to be public service. Public service actually includes youth-type activities, that includes senior activities, that would also include housing counseling, family counseling. These are the types of things that would fall up under there. So that would be normally your social service types of activities. So that would be 20% of whatever the allocation, 15% of whatever the allocation is for that particular year. We can also do rehabilitation of residential and non-residential structures. That would be commercial structures. We can also do construction of public facilities and improvements, such as water and sewer facilities, streets, neighborhood centers, as well as conversion of different school buildings for an eligible purpose. Also, we can deal with acquisition of real property, and then also to carry out economic development as a part of job creation or retention activities. Well, along with the guidelines, there are some things that you cannot do. So as a part of that, it actually includes that buildings for the general conduct of government are not eligible, as well as general government expenses. That includes maintenance, repair, operating cost, as well as political and religious activities. Then also fines, penalties, late fees, and taxes, etc. And then I'm going to end with some other unallowable costs. That would be alcoholic beverages, outstanding debts, entertainment costs, fines and penalties, as well as political activities and lobbying. So just wanted to go over a little bit as far as economic and community development, the overview for community development block grant funds. For these particular funds, it is a very, very competitive process. So for each year, what we actually do is we have an application process. That application process occurs normally in October or November with regards to these particular funds. Applications are normally due sometime in December, beginning of January, depending upon when that particular application process begins. The actual contracts that you will hear today, they were a part of the budget that was approved back in July of this year with regards to the funds that we received. Again, once those funds are allocated to us, we must present the plan. Then once that plan is approved with regards to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, after you all have approved that for us to move forward, then we bring it back to you with regards to the actual contracts for those agencies that were identified as a part of that action plan.
Commissioner Bryant.
Thank you for that presentation. I have a couple of questions, and I appreciate what Big Brothers and Big Sisters for the Heart of Georgia does. I just want to know, how many kids do you all service yearly? How do you pick the kids? What's the success rate? And how long do the kids stay on the program? And my last question is, how do you advertise for people to get help?
So we'll hold off on that question just one moment. So I'm going to finish the presentation for Ms. Jackson. We'll go through these one by one, and then we'll let you speak generally about each one of those if there's a particular question. But any question overall for Ms. Jackson just concerning the overview she had, not any particular one. So I got a couple of questions over here. Commissioner Wynn, here
Yes,
for you.
yes, and good to have you. Happy New Year. We know we'll see you more throughout the year. You talk about your recipients have to apply every year. Do they have to reapply every year, the same recipients?
So we actually have a funding workshop. So with the funding workshop, it's open and advertised as far as anyone can come to the funding workshop. And with that funding workshop, it depends upon who decides to move forward as far as the application. Within the workshop itself, we go through the process. We talk about, just like we just talked here, a little bit about the overview with regards to the funds and what can be utilized as far as the funds are concerned. We also talk about the process and what the requirements are, because there are requirements as far as reporting with regards to these funds as well.
But do they have to reapply every year?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's not an automatic each year,
Okay,
no.
so things could change throughout from the year that they applied to now, so they have to reapply every year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Bronson?
Hey, thank you for the presentation. Just out of curiosity, and I may be out of pocket with this question, but are we affected, is your program affected by the recent executive order that came out in regards to our funding and so forth?
So
She can answer the question. I think in general, there's been a freeze on unallocated funds till February the 10th while they're under review. Okay. It shouldn't affect anything she has ongoing at the present time. But we've gotten a White House memo today and still digesting ourselves. So I don't think anybody realizes whether or not it's legally significant that it could even do this and whether or not it's going to affect anything right now. Likewise, just to go ahead and nip this in the bud since we're on the subject, we've also been in communications with the school system, and Dr. Sims and I spoke earlier today concerning making sure Title I's and those things are not adversely affected. So we're going to do whatever we can with the law, but I think Ms. Jackson as well as ourselves are still kind of in the early stages of this, and we certainly going to take all steps to protect all the programs we have in place, but don't see anything on the immediate front that's going to cause any disruption right now. Ms. Jackson, you feel free to add anything you want to. Just want to make sure I navigate the politics for you.
No, you're correct. You're absolutely correct.
Okay. Mr. Brown, you got a follow-up question?
No, that'll do it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Stewart?
Ms. Jackson, thank you so much for the presentation, and I hope also that the decisions coming out of Washington will not affect us long term. I did want to ask you this. We have a building over in District 3. We've gotten grants to do, different things in the park. It's the old Willie Ballou Center. Would this fall under the auspice of that? Can we apply for that to make sure that building is brought up to date? Because it's a wonderful location. Little kids across the street, so they want to find places to come have their snacks, to make sure they can do the schoolwork. But if you go in that building, it really needs to be brought up to par. So would that fall under the auspice of this? Can we apply for that?
I can't say that right offhand because so as a part of the presentation, it talked about as far as whether it's a building that may be with regards to the confines, with regards to government. So I would hate to say yes to something that is not eligible. So I would want to look at what that facility would be used for and everything else to determine if it may be something we may be able to address.
I appreciate you looking at it.
Because we also can't do maintenance.
Sure. I appreciate you looking at it, though. Thank you.
Commissioner Bailey?
Yes, and again, I want to say thank you for that very thorough dissertation on community block grants. Very educational for me, and I'm certain that the citizens of District 9 have enjoyed it and will use this information as well. We do have an area that has been situated for veterans, homeless veterans in our area. The old Ramada Inn that's there on Eisenhower Parkway is presently now the Veterans Depot, and they are in need of services, as far as the construction of that building is concerned. They're in need of some serious renovations there. And I know that you stated that one of the things, the entities that couldn't use it was a government entity. Would this fall upon, government entity if it's not presently, situated or been deployed by a government agency? It's actually a colonel that has opened this agency up for veterans.
So the other thing is that you must be careful. So I would hate to say yes, because
know,
as a private owner, if it's a private owner and it's not an actual agency or
Yes.
something along those lines, it also falls up under what is eligible versus what is not.
Okay.
So we would have to look at that particular piece. And the other thing is that, so we actually have an application process that we try to do, because these are very competitive funds. We actually get more applications than, unfortunately, we have money to spend. And as a part of what we do, that everything that we do is based upon partnerships, because we know we cannot do it alone when you look at the amount of money we actually receive versus the number of applications that we do receive as far as the amount.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paley. So thank you, Ms. Jackson, for that. Now we'll start with these individual items. I know Commissioner Bryant had a question for the first one, so let me go ahead and get her taken care of. If you don't mind, have a seat, and we'll call up each one of these as we need to. The first one is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the Heart of Georgia, Inc., granting a community development block grant in an amount of $53,077 to provide mentoring service to at-risk youth. Let's go ahead and take a vote and see if we got a first and second on that, and then we'll take any questions. So at this time, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Bailey. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Stewart. And Ms. Bryant, you had questions on this one. Is this correct or not? Okay. If you don't mind, Mr. Fitzgerald will come up to the microphone. Put you on the hot seat for just a moment. Adjust that mic accordingly if it's too short or too too high for you.
Thank you for assuming it was going to
yeah.
be too short.
So, Commissioner Bryant, if you don't mind, if you'll just take those questions one by one so she can refresh her memory on what you asked just a moment ago. You're good.
A couple of the questions, I think she's already answered about the application process. And she answered the one about how long the kids could stay on the program, and it was said that they have to reapply each year. So I wanted to
Now,
know.
that was about the program overall for CDBG award grants. The specific question to this particular nonprofit is a separate question, so you feel free to ask that question because she probably has a different response for you.
Okay, so my first question is, how many kids do you service, and how do you pick the kids?
Are you speaking specifically towards the CDBG grant that's being voted on today?
I'm speaking with
or
the
in
Big
general?
Brothers and the Big Sisters program.
Okay, so that's different from the CDBG grant. But the Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Heart of Georgia has the largest geographic footprint of all of the Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies in the state of Georgia. We serve primarily central Georgia region, and in that particular footprint, Macon-Bibb is one of our largest areas. Houston County is actually our largest number of students served, thanks to our base and our Warner Robins partnership with the city government there. We also serve all the way out to Lawrence County, and then the counties directly touching Bibb County here and Houston County. We currently have 101 active matches that are meeting in this region right now, and a lot of this is because we are still having major attrition based on the effects, negative effects of COVID, as well as some of our partnerships with schools where, as you can probably imagine, when you meet, if you meet in our school-based program, our kids in the elementary school have an easier way to meet their mentors versus once they get into upper grades, where we really cannot risk them missing classroom time, and so they have to meet on the community. And because of COVID, we are still seeing mentors not feel comfortable meeting out in the community, as well as those that once their little rotates out of the 5th grade, many of them step back. So that is a problem that we have, and we had about 75 matches closed over the past few months based on students moving outside of the service area, or our bigs moving or having life changes that warrant that they are not able to serve our youth. To answer your question about do they have to apply again, no, they don't. Once they are in the program, they do, and especially after they are matched, they are in the program for life until they graduate or we release them from the program, because we are piloting a bigger futures program which extends beyond age 18 with very select students and their mentors. But if a youth, let's say, has a mentor and they decide that they're going to move to California and then they can't remain matched in our program here, they do get a reassessment and they go back into the re-enrollment stage at our agency. As for how, I believe one of your questions was how how do they get selected, correct?
Yes.
So we have several pathways to our organization. One of the most popular, I'm going to kind of focus on Bibb County right now, but one of our biggest pathways is actually through the RISE initiative with District Attorney Howard. We receive specific referrals from that program. We also get what I call residual referrals, where the committee might, we don't receive any funding from District Attorney Howard for our services, but sometimes we find out about a youth and we're able to serve them while they're waiting or receiving other services from other organizations. We get referrals from churches, from schools, from the Project Arise, which is a mental health initiative, the PACE Center for Girls, and many, many other organizations. And then we, of course, have self-referrals. So we have parents and guardians. We have a lot of well-intended non-guardians that call us about children that we aren't able to serve unless their guardian or parent submits an application and does the interview process. And we also have even youth that reach out to us. And of course, we have to go immediately to their parent or guardian, but sometimes they hear about their friends participating in the program and they want to participate as well.
Okay, I heard you say that you kind of collaborate with the RISE program.
Yes, ma'am.
At any time, are y'all servicing the same youth with the money? Like, is money being spent from the RISE program, and then over here on the same youth, it's coming out of
We
this?
do not, well, first thing, that's against federal regulations. I am trained, have gone to Washington, D.C. to be fully trained on financial management for federal grants, because I also receive many federal grants that are being affected today. From that, we cannot double, triple dip, et cetera. They have fancy words for that, but that in layman's terms. But we do not receive a dime from District Attorney Anita Howard. We are part of their partnership. We serve on their committees and their panels, but we do not receive any funding from them to support any of our youth that come from their program to ours.
I think you answered my question, but I wasn't asking that you get money. I was just asking if we have one youth, can he get help on the RISE initiative program, and can he get help on your program, not whether y'all was swapping money?
No, I thought, since this is a financial discussion, I kind of thought that, sorry, I went that way. But yes, we can absolutely count both. But our hardest problem, and I think I can speak this for all of our folks that are on this list, one of the most difficult challenges all of us have is that we have so many kids or families or clients that qualify for this program technically, but we can't get financial documentation that is required by the government to be able to get reimbursed and count them as one of the clients officially. And I can tell you that since we started working in this program in 2019, we've seen good, bad, and ugly. And a lot of our families are very nervous, or they just simply do not want to give you this information. And I want to tell you that I bet many of us sitting in this room serve way more clients than you ever see on those final reports. But those are the rules with the government.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Stewart.
I just wanted to say personally thank you, for what you, Ms. Fitzgerald, do, and Ms. June O'Neill. I know you're retired now, but what you have done for ages in this community, Ms. Lucas with the school that she has, the mayor with the MVP program, the DA with the RISE initiative. There's no magic solution, but it takes everybody working together. And Ms. Friday with what she does, it takes everybody working together. So I just salute you. And the money that you're talking about, I know it's a financial discussion, but every penny and every dollar that we spend to help our young people is an investment in our future. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Going to move on to item B. Item B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Family Advancement Ministries, grant a community development block grant in an amount of $10,140 to provide car seats to families with young children. Motion to approve? I got a motion to approve by Commissioner Bryant. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. Commissioner Wynn, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I'm not sure who can answer this, but just as I do ask in other issues, how do we get the information out to people that need these car seats? How do we get that to those people? I always worry about these with our other programs too.
Sure, don't mind. Don't talk until you get up to that microphone. We have people at home like to hear what you got to say on this particular issue since it's on the agenda. So move that microphone up so you can speak into it.
Thank you. Is this good? Thank you for asking me. We send our information out to, at least in the last year, 1,700 families. All of our families who come through Family Advancement Ministries or any of our associated agencies get this information. We also give out car seats that are not, as Betsy alluded, not eligible for this particular CDBG program simply because they don't want to give us that information. And we certainly understand and respect that individual's wish, to give us or not give us the appropriate documentation. So everywhere we go, it's on our website, it's on our materials. Any presentations that I or my staff give has information about our car seat program.
Yeah, thank you. I know this is not a great amount of money, but
No.
still, everything can help, I'm
Well,
sure.
certainly, and we combine it with other donations that we get, financial donations, and other programs that we get also to make sure. We have never been in a position where we had to turn anyone down yet.
Okay, thank you for what you do. We appreciate
certainly.
that.
Glad-
Thank you. That's really, that wasn't too bad, was it?
No, not at all.
And June O'Neill has not retired until Friday.
I think she has some sick leave.
Thank you, Commissioner Bryant. Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Crisis Line and Safe House of Central Georgia, Inc., grant a community development block grant in the amount of $49,887 to provide for shelter services to individuals and families involved in domestic violence situations. At this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Good Lord, second? All right, we'll let our clerk decide who gets the first and second on that one. Commissioner Wynn, I'll hear a question from you.
No question, just want to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Sneaky. All right. All right, we do have a motion and a second. I think everybody's well aware of the work. Raise your hand if you're here from the crisis line. I know we have a couple of people there. Thank you guys for being
Thank you.
here. Won't put you on the hot seat unless somebody makes me ask you a question, but at this time, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. It will be sent to consent agenda tonight. Oh, Lord. She's all right. We'll get her next time. Item D, a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Family Counseling Services of Central Georgia, granting a community development block grant in the amount of $43,200 to provide counseling and therapeutic programs for low-income families dealing with complex issues. And who do we have tonight? Yes, ma'am. You don't mind step up that microphone. I got a feeling somebody wants to ask you a question. Maybe they can prove me wrong. Just identify yourself, please.
Good evening. My name is Christy Henry. I'm the Executive Director at the Family Counseling Center.
Thank you, Christy. I appreciate you being here tonight. I know we have a great relationship, but tell the folks that may not know all the good work that you do there, what exactly you do, and how do you plan on using these CDBG funds?
Yes, thank you. We offer low to no cost counseling services and case management. Particularly with the CDBG funds, it allows us to see clients who are moderate to low income and receive public assistance. And we have a large variety of opportunities that will make somebody eligible for that. Again, falling in the moderate to low income group, and we are able to see them at no cost. So when you have a family who is working hard to make their ends meet, counseling, we want to remove that barrier to allow them to be able to receive those mental health services. We see about 30% of our clients are children, and we see children starting at the age of 5.
And how do you get your referrals for the work?
Yes, that's a great question. All of these humans back here behind me, we are on lots of coalitions, Reentry Coalition, Homeless Coalition. We do spend a lot of time with our nonprofit partners. We refer and get clients connected as we need be. We are part of the RISE program. We Project Aware in Bibb County. I think the list of our collaborators is about 40 or 50 people long, so
Okay.
here and there.
Commissioner Bryant, you had a question?
Yes, I know I'm pretty much asking the same questions, but if I was not sitting up here and I didn't have the information, he asked the first question that I would have asked. But how would the public know that this service is available? Are you doing it at the schools? Can I see it somewhere on 211? How would I know if I wasn't sitting up here how to get, if I had a teenager or someone that needed this counseling? How would I know to call you all?
Right, yes. Well, we do work with all of our non-partners and have a brochure that outlines our services and resources and how to get in touch with us, and are out in the Bibb County schools connecting with the individuals who are working with children and adults who might need our services, whether that's at a doctor's office or in the schools. It's out there.
So your nonprofits, your other partners you mentioned, the school system and your counselors is how you get your referral. And I assume you use all the traditional forms of contact, whether it be social media, in-person, or referrals. I think that's what you referred to.
Yes,
Mr. Stewart, you had a follow-up question, sir?
Pretty much the same thing I was saying to Ms. Fitzgerald. I wanted to thank Ms. Henry. I've been by there and toured the place personally. I would like to say to my fellow commissioners, I hope you all have a chance to go by there as well. It's at the Peyton Anderson Building on MLK Junior Boulevard. Thank you, Ms. Henry.
Mr. Wynn?
Just real quick, thank you for what you do also. Just in the future on the rest of these, if you will just tell us how you get your applicants in, that would help for us to understand how you get that, because I'd probably ask that on every question. I always do every time we go through this. But I want to make sure you're reaching the people in an appropriate way so that we can get to the right people. Thank you, though.
We are not at a loss for clients at this point in time. I would say we would need more therapists to be able to serve all of the calls and clients that we receive.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. We do need a motion to approve. Can I get a motion to approve? Okay, get a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Going to move on. Thank you. Item E, which is a resolution to Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Home First Housing Resource Services and grant a community development block grant in an amount of $84,700 to provide home ownership counseling, foreclosure counseling, and home buyer education. Mr. Bell, how you doing tonight? You'll come up that microphone. I'm sure nobody's going to ask you a question, but I'll let you come up there anyway, because you're ready to answer it. So, Ms. Wynn already put a question out there, so we'll go ahead and let you start with that one. If anybody has a follow-up, that's fine. Just let us know how you get the word out to people, how they hear about you in your referral system.
We've been in existence. This is our 23rd year. And Home First was actually founded by the city of Macon as the Macon Housing Counseling Centers many years ago, right here on Poplar Street. The way that we get the word out is through our partners, the Housing Authority, other housing agencies and entities. We also do a limited amount of marketing, social media, et cetera. But most folks come to us via referral, particularly from our lending partners. We do two things. We help people navigate the home buying process, and we help families who are having difficulty paying their mortgages save their homes from foreclosure. So as you can imagine, these last few years have been incredibly busy for us. But saying that, there is no shortage of folks who need assistance, and people do find us, and the word is out there. We also do a lot of community outreach as well. We will go into neighborhoods and do back-to-school bashes, and we'll partner with other agencies and churches to make sure that people are aware of the services that we provide, particularly on the foreclosure intervention side, because that is a priority. Fortunately, this last year, we've seen an uptick in the number of folks on the pre-purchase side. One of the things that the foreclosure crisis taught us is that there were a number of people who were buying homes who simply weren't ready. And this time around, people realize the need for education and to be firmly entrenched in what it is they're trying to do where home ownership is concerned. So that's pretty the vein that we work in.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I appreciate the work that you do, and I know we have a few more questions coming to you as well. So at this time, Commissioner Stewart, I'll let you ask the question.
There again, Mr. Bell, it's not a question, it's just saying thank you. I'd just like to go on the record and say thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. This time, we do need a motion to approve. And can I get a second? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate it. Thank you all.
Item F is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Mother's Nest, grant a community development block grant in the amount of $20,394 to provide assistance to new and expecting mother. Ms. Friday, I see you over there. I know you're itching to get up that microphone. So we'll start out with our standard question is, how do people know about your services and how do you get your referrals for this funds?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to serve our community. I get my message out from meeting the people where they're at, and I go to those locations where I know that where they're going to be with our collaborative partners through me being a doula. We're posted at Atron Health, Piedmont, United Way. We're also in the United Way resource guide. We're in 211. We're in local department stores, Dillard's, you name it. So we make sure, and we're on Facebook, Twitter, so we basically try to get to those locations where we know our people are and where they're gonna need our services, because we're in this crunch of time, we have to pull our resources together, and a lot of people are afraid to ask for help, but we know that they need help. So we go to those places that we know they frequent, whether it's getting WIC at the health department, so we have a flyer there, or whether or not they need services at DFACS, we have a flyer there. And once again, we're with our collaborative partners with United Way. And also when family come in for resources, they may need some counseling, so we also provide our flyer to the Family Counseling Center and vice versa. So all of us work together as a team to make sure that the information gets out to the people in our community that desperately need them.
Thank you. Commissioner Wynn, you had a question?
Yes, just to follow up to that, and thank you for what you do too. You mentioned you go through DFACS, WIC programs. Do you go to churches? Do you have any brochures
Yes.
for churches too?
Exactly. We also go to faith-based organization as well and let them know. I actually went to the mayor's clergy meeting as well and reached out to all the clergymen to let them know about Mother's Nest and the program and the resources that we have available. So yes, we do not leave any stones unturned. We also work with Dr. Jones with the Macon-Bibb. We also work with Brookdale Resource Center and Salvation Army. We work a lot with June O'Neill back there. So we actually worked this weekend with trying to find getting family the services that they need. So we definitely try to get the word out in every means necessary that we can to support our community.
It sounds like a good program, and I love the name too. I think
Mother's Nest.
Mother's Nest, yeah.
And the reason why I came up with that name, because if you think about a mother, she's going to protect everything that's in that nest. She's going to go out and get all those resources that she needs. If she needs a baby bottle, she's going to go get it and bring it to the nest. If she needs diapers, she's going to get it and bring it to the nest. And it's all in one centralized location: diapers, wipes, car seats, cribs, parental training, workforce development, education, all is essential in one location. And that's what Mother's Nest is all about. We have been in existence now since 2022, and we are going strong, even though we're faced with some financial difficulties, as we all know. But as we know, we're stronger together by all of us pulling our resources and our brains together to benefit our community at large. I'm sorry? I did? Well, actually, with God's help. He came up with it, and I just seconded it.
That's good. Commissioner Bryant, you got a question?
Thank you for everything you've done. I've seen firsthand your work, and I'm glad that you collaborate with everyone. And I like the fact that you say that you go to where the people need it, where you can meet the people, because everyone is not on social media. I just got social media when I started the commissioner's office.
Right.
So with going to the places that you say, like WIC, having flyers at the church, even in the communities, a lot of people can see the help that you have and they'll ask for it. Because some people, they're not going to get it because they're not familiar with the services that are being offered by other people unless someone tells them or they see it.
Right, and that's why community events and health fairs are so important as well, to get the word out. And that's another avenue we use as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Stewart.
Yeah, Ms. Friday, I just wanted to thank you and what your family has done for decades here in this community. There's a wealth of citizens here in Macon, Georgia, but dating back to your uncle as being former mayor of Macon, Mayor Ellis, Ms. Dot down on Cherry Street, what you do. But above all that, say thank you for what you've done. A lot of people don't realize this, but I do. You served in a Secret Service detail all around this world to protect the presidents of the United States of America. And so for that, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Bailey?
Yes, and on behalf of the citizens of District 9, I would also like to say thank you for your contribution to our society. Here in District 9, I would also want to say thank you for me as well, for inviting me to come out and to spend time at your agency. And for all the other commissioners, I just want you to know that the struggle is real and much different than the struggle that we had when we were raising our own kids. When we were raising our own children, and I'm not gonna say my age or anything like that, but yeah, I'm still 18. But back there in those years, Pampers would actually cost us maybe $10, maybe $12 at the most, and you would get a large amount of them. But today, that same purchase is $45. $55. And that is a big difference when you think about how the housing industry has gone up on rentals, how utilities, that could be a utility that's not being paid because, you know, they've got to provide this right here for those particular families. So I just want everyone to, you know, think consciously about this. And not only that, we have many teens that I saw at the agency that she's presently serving, as well as our middle agers and people that are moving into our area that are finding it difficult, you know, to be here because of the increases. The increases not only just on gasoline, but gasoline, utilities, rentals, and when, you know, you couple all of that together with childcare, the struggle is different than what anyone could ever imagine that's presently here than what we had to actually go through. So when you bring it down to an age 18 or age 21, where we are already established and have been in the workforce and they're presently getting into the workforce and making minimum age, it is almost impossible to exist in a single person household. So I would like for all the commissioners to think very seriously about Mother's Nest and making sure that she has the utilities to continue on and go forward for our area and all the surrounding areas that she does serve. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I'll take that as a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by, who said that, Commissioner Bronson? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda tonight at 6 o'clock. Going to move on to item G. I don't think anybody knows this person here, so I know there's going to be any questions for somebody who's retired and going on. It's a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Mentors Project of Bibb County, granting a community development block grant in an amount of $12,400 to provide assistance to students and families in the Mentors Project, to include the provision of rent, utilities, and food assistance. I think everybody knows Miss Gina O'Neill, knows she's out there on the streets every day getting people, so there's no need to ask her how she gets referrals. She's got her best jacket on tonight. So this time, I'd like to have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. There you go. Thank you. Grants. We got one final item on the agenda before we take a recess. This is 7A. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize acceptance of a 2025 Georgia County Internship Program, which is, you can see the abbreviation there, from the ACCG Civic Affairs Foundation in an amount of $5,819, with a local match of $4,800 to be paid from the county attorney's budget for the Macon-Bibb County Attorney's Internship Program. That's a lot to say that we have some matching funds for a worthy grant from ACCG Foundation to get more internships in operation for Macon-Bibb County, especially the attorney's office. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do we have a second? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and we sent to consent agenda. Commissioners, I don't think we have any need at this time to go into executive session. So this time I'll conclude and recess this meeting until our next meeting at 6 o'clock.